BL Short Story Collection. The Retired Demon King's Farming Diary. Saving my nemesis from demonic poison. Drenching the world in blood grows tedious much faster than one would think. People feared me, calling me the master of the Ghost Gate, the bringer of calamity, the great demon king, Kianheol. The renowned exorcists and Taoists of the human realm hunted the helpless goblins and low-grade spirits quietly living in the mountains, turning them into talisman ingredients and plundering their spiritual cores. They spoke of righteousness and the common people, yet behind closed doors, they rotted with greed, gnawing away at the very life force of the mountains. Their hypocrisy was sickening. So, I drew a line of blood between the human realm and the sacred mountains. I smashed their arrogant temples and severed the heads of those greedy Taoists, planting them like boundary posts. I never wanted to destroy the world. I only cleaned up the trash that crossed the line and protected the weak within my domain. Yet, when I stood at the absolute zenith of this world, all I felt was a bone-deep fatigue. Without a trace of regret, I faked my death and slipped away into this deep valley. Enjoying the simple life of a peasant, I poured my heart into farming high-protein, low-carb crops like lentils and mung beans. At least until that madman fell out of the sky and crashed right into the middle of my fields. Swoosh, crash, bang, clatter. Falling straight from the heavens, the man clutched a foreign sword, same geometry, plastered with talismans, coughing up blood. His black robes, Keelik, were caked in mud, but what stood out most was his hair. Rather than the flowing topknot expected of a disciple from a prestigious sect, his sides and back were shaved clean in a modern undercut style, claiming a topknot was nothing but a nuisance when cutting off demon heads. His sweat-slicked bangs clung to his pale cheeks. An oblivious, reckless rebel who had crawled all the way up to this valley, chasing the faint trace of my demonic energy. I pressed a hand to my forehead. My gaze lingered not on his sword, but on my lentil sprouts, crushed flat beneath his weight. At that moment, I wanted nothing more than to wring his pale neck and use him as fertilizer for my fields. But having sworn to end senseless killing, I held back. That was the beginning of our terribly annoying cohabitation. The moment he opened his eyes, he emptied 2 bowls of mung bean porridge I had brewed, declared me his savior, and insisted on helping with the field work. He had no idea that the infamous, cold-blooded demon king he swore to slay was right in front of him, chopping radishes. My savior, you must be careful. I have heard that the ruthless demon king Kianheol slaughtered the Taoists of Mount Tybeek without mercy. How could such a foul fiend exist? Is that so? And I suppose those righteous Taoists didn't sneak into the mountains first to tear out the spiritual cores of young goblins. What? How could those who cultivate the Tao commit such a cowardly deed? What a brainwashed novice. I let out a soft chuckle as I watched him scratch his short, undercut hair in frustration. I wanted his wounds to heal quickly so he could leave the mountain, but secretly, I didn't mind the way his clear, stubborn eyes followed me around. However, that fragile peace did not last long. That afternoon, the clear wind blowing down the mountain ridge sank, carrying the rotten stench of a beast. From the shadows of the withering forest, a massive man draped in tiger skin emerged. It was Gyoko Gwi, a tiger demon who had once been my subordinate, but had rebelled in a mad thirst for power. Where has that overwhelming demonic energy gone? Now you smell only of dirt. You fought the humans to protect those worthless goblin runts, and all you got is this pathetic garden? Allow me to end the demon king's breath today. Gyoko Gwi. I set my hoe down with a dull thud and called out lazily, "Shut up and get out of my field." A sickening pink mist began to seep from Gyoko Gwi's mouth. It was a potent demonic poison, Yoduk. One that melted a human's core and forced them into a state of heat, burning their internal organs to ash unless they united their essence with yang energy. The instant the beast launched the poison toward my heart. "You beast! How dare you target a helpless villager?" He leaped forward like lightning, blocking my front, attempting to block it with his sword, thinking it was simple demonic energy. The sticky poison struck him dead center in the chest. His black robes sizzled and burned, and terrifying crimson veins spread rapidly up his neck. Arg! Aha! You foolish Taoist. If only you knew who that helpless villager you just protected really is. The moment Gyoko Gwi began to mock, the taut string of my restraint snapped. I had sworn not to kill without cause, yet he dared to draw blood in my domain. Blood I had not permitted? Ugh! K-cough. Gyoko Gwi's laughter turned into a choked animal gasp. In the blink of an eye, I stood inches from him, wrapping one hand around his thick throat and lifting his massive body into the air. You dare ruin my annoying toy on my land? The farmer's easygoing smile had long since vanished. The suppressed, violent demonic energy erupted like a hurricane, cracking the dirt floor beneath my feet. A creature like you has no right to speak my name. As I channeled my energy into my grip, Gyoko Gwi's massive form crumbled into ashes without even a chance to scream. A single gesture. The forest fell silent once more. I turned slowly and walked toward him, as he lay on the ground, gasping for breath. Ha! Don't come close. He was trembling violently. Under the influence of the poison, the clear eyes that had never wavered before demons were now glazed over with raw lust. The flushed skin around his eyes under his sweat-damp bangs, and his feverish neck, looked incredibly provocative. Unable to withstand the strange heat rising from his core, his hips writhed like a snake against the dirt. I knelt down and grabbed his chin. As my cool skin touched him, he shivered, instinctively rubbing his burning cheek against my palm. Stay back. I hovered over him, whispering low, pinning him down. You prattled on about human righteousness, yet here you are, pathetically succumbing to a demon's aphrodisiac right in front of me. And now you tell me to stay back. My heavy gaze swept slowly down his sweat-slicked lips. The Taoist panted, caught between fear and pleasure, looking up at me. He felt the suffocating, cruel aura of the Demon King, something the simple farmer could never possess. Ah, you, just who? Yes, the Demon King you were so desperate to kill is none other than me. With those words, I tore open the fabric of his ruined black robes. Ah! As the cool mountain air hit his fever-flushed skin, he arched his back, squirming. I seized his wrists in a single hand, pinning them firmly above his head. My free hand trailed slowly, deliberately, from his burning waist down to the tender flesh of his inner thigh. The twitch of his tense muscles clung to my fingertips. Ah! No. Please. Let go. Ha! There is no other way to draw out this poison. You have lived a pure life cultivating your energy. It won't be easy to take my dark demonic essence deep inside you. I buried my lips against his ear, whispering with a bite. With every breath that brushed his skin, the tender nape below his closely shaved undercut stiffened, arching his body like a bow. Overwhelmed by my absolute power, his legs parted helplessly. Beneath him, my heavy heat pressed firmly against his tender skin. He let out a sharp gasp, feeling it. I dragged my tongue wetly along his tear-stained earlobe, growling low like a predator before its prey. So keep your senses sharp, and bear it.